Okay, question 3 is the same story, except our table is in a horizontal format. Let's go ahead and remember what our general form is. We take our multiple, and remember that's the number that usually has the x. It's being multiplied by a variable. We also call that the rate. Same concept. And then we always add the constant to the end. And the constant is the number that when we back the pattern up to 0, when x equals 0, the question we ask ourselves is, what does y equal? And that's what the constant is. Okay? So let's take a look at our change in y, and we see that we go from -8 to -5, and that is an increase of 3. Likewise, let's go ahead and look at our change in x. It goes from -3 to 0. That is an increase also of 3. So our change in y over our change in x is equal to 3 over 3, which equals 1. So our multiple is 1x plus our constant. And from the table, it's obvious that when x equals 0, y equals -5. So plus -5. You can also write this as x minus 5 would be the equation. And that's the rule. And technically, this whole expression here equals y. So our equation for number 4, y equals, okay, well, 55, 55, 57, 57. It looks pretty obvious to me that y equals x, but let's prove this to ourselves. Our change in x here equals 1. This was an increase in 1, and using our intuition, we know that the number 56 went in this box, so the change in y here is also 1. So that means our rate, delta y over delta x, equals 1 over 1, which equals 1x. So that's our rate. So we'll just stick our rate right here. And plus our constant, well, let's see here. If we were to back this pattern up all the way to x equals, well, it looks like 0 would be over here, to where x equals 0, it seems apparent that y always equals x, so y would equal 0 also. So our rule is in fact y equals x for number 4. Okay, complete the following table and answer the questions that follow. Alright, we have our visual depiction of what's going on, our term number, basically this is what turn we're on, our thought process, this is where we'll put our calculation, and the numerical value. So it looks like we are counting bricks in this case. So for term number 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bricks. For term number 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bricks. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bricks. Okay, so we can already see a pattern here. And the pattern here is an increase in 2. Every time our term number increases by 1. Therefore, this is our independent value. So we can think of this as our x. We can think of this as our y. So our delta y over delta x, our change in y was a positive change of 2, and our change in x was 1 every time So our rate is 2. So that's our rate. And from the pattern, can we tell what we started with when our term number was 0? How many bricks did we have? Well, let's just use our intuition here. 2, 10, 8. I think a 6 probably went here. And so do you see that when we initially started out, when we back our pattern up to 0, our numerical value is 6. We started with 6 bricks. So that would look something like this. 6 bricks. And so our thought process is, how did we get from 0 to 6? What did we do? Well, according to our rate, we multiplied our term number, which I'm representing as x. So we multiplied that by 2, and then we add 6. That's our constant. So really what we did here was we did 2 times 0 plus 6. And this 0 I got from this 0 right here. And so does that equal 6? Yes. Right here, 2 times 1 plus 6 equals 8. 2 times 2 plus 6 equals 10. 2 times 3 plus 6 equals 12. And so on. Until you finally get down to n here, and this is when we are interested in what is the general pattern here. So I was using x up here. It looks like this table shows n, so we should probably rewrite it as 2n plus 6. So 6 states, use our rule to determine the number of blocks needed to build a step with term 62. Well, our rule, if we remember, was that 2 times n plus 6 equals the number of bricks. I'll just put B to stand for bricks. And here it's telling us we need to determine the number of blocks when what? When our term is 62. So all we do here is we take our rule and adapt it to this problem. 2 times 62 plus 6 equals B. And I will let you figure out the answer to that. Number 7, suppose it takes 38 blocks to build a step. Okay, so what is different between this number 6 and number 7? In number 6, we were determining the number of blocks. We were solving for the number of blocks, but here we are solving for the term number. So let's go ahead and rewrite our rule. 2n plus 6 equals b, but in this case they told us that we start with 38 blocks. So we rewrite 2n plus 6 equals 38. And at this point, it's a two-step equation. Well, let's go ahead and subtract 6 from each side. So that'd be 2n equals 32. We'll divide by 2 on each side to get n equals 16. So the term number would be 16.